This is the Bar Stewards Enquiry.
Right? You are talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
And a big warm welcome to the Bar Stewards Inquiry Weekend podcast, where I'm joined by a gaggle of people to go through this weekend's racing. And it's certainly interesting cars, to say the least, at Sandown with the Imperial Cup and Wolverhampton on the all-weather. Sandown is set for an inspection tomorrow, but looking at the forecast, is probably big odds on to go ahead, given it's going to get to 7 degrees around midday. So joining me, without further ado, John Lang, as always. Good evening, John.
Hello.
Yes, excited as always on his hashtag The Road to Doncaster. Also joining John tonight are two national hunt sleuths. The first one disgracing at Northern training ranks with training another winner yesterday with King Athelstan and not telling a soul. It's Neville Ender.
Good evening.
Good evening, yes.
Anybody, anything.
Yeah, good form you're in at the moment. You train it. You're like Godolph in your strike rate, and it's a disgrace. Like I say, no one gets to know nothing. You get big prices. What do you think, Adam Norman, to Neville Ender? A disgrace?
No comment, Lee.
Very diplomatically put. Okay, right. This is the best bets round where we give our best bets for the weekend, and I'm going to start with the 1 point round, and I'm going to come to Adam Norman first. Adam, anything decent for the 1 pointer?
Oh, just a steady enough start, Lee, for the 1 pointer. It's in the 4:10 at Sandown. It's a handicap chase, and it is Mucho Mass of the very much in form Ben Paulingyard. He just can't seem to stop training winners this season. Incredible turnaround from the golf course. Yeah, Mucho Mass is a bit of a shell of a horse last year when I saw him, and it was sort of an embryo chaser. Lightly raced this season. I think he's growing into his frame. He's growing into his mark. He was behind Bill Baxter, who's gone on to do quite well this winter. The 80 days off is slightly surprising, but it could just be that he's been waiting for some proper soft ground. We just haven't had any since the turn of the year. So with that in mind, I didn't think that this was a race that I could find too many strong ones, to be honest. Flowing Cadenza is a sort of a modest mare fronting the market. I'm quite happy to take her on. And Mucho Mass was the next best in, pretty solid, and he is the 1 point win. 4:10 Sandown.
Good stuff. 5-1 with Billy Mountains and Bet365, the Port Vale firm. John, question to Adam's bet there. Do you think Venetia's got the fav in that Flowing Cadenza? Will she have the boots on tomorrow?
Well, it is there now.
What do you think she'll be trying? I think it was this meeting last year where she dressed up rather. Was it the like a kimono?
Well, she might be looking to get a bit of a squeeze on for Cheltenham. So.
Yeah. She makes more effort in the spring, I think, when a bit cold at the moment. Okay, John, I want to come to you.
Maybe a bit of in a thigh on display. You never know.
Well, that's it. Yeah, might be tights though with the weather. John, coming to you then for your 1 pointer.
Right, 5 o'clock. Wolves, Vaudevillian, 3 not-offs. Well, not offs. More like running him fit, I think, because I put a fat note on him first time out, and then I put thinner second time out. Yeah, in fairness, he's looked better with each run physically. And he has a bit of substance to him, this horse. I do quite like him as a type. Something I found to be a bit of a theme with the horses Sean Wood selects, actually. He's quite a nice deep girth sort. He's got a bit of scope about him. He's crying out for this trip, maybe more. But the booking of Rab Havlin to replace Nicola Curry, who's ridden him for the 3 Get a Mark rides.
Slight upgrade.
Yeah. I'm not saying Rab's as much as £3.5 better than Nicola Curry, but he's a slight improvement.
Yeah.
So the probably main business here, 1 point win.
1 point win, 12-1 with Port Vale on Vaudevillian for the excellent Sean Woods at yard, quite shrewd of the Sean Woods team. So that could go well for John. Neville Ender, I'm coming to you for the 1 point. I trust you've got some absolute belters for our listeners. After you're in good form, you're trading winners. You've obviously bet the one on Thursday for plenty. Joanna Mason steered home the bacon. What have you got to kick us off for the weekend?
I've backed King Athelstan the time before last and the time before that when he was placed at big prices, and I never had a shilling on him yesterday.
No.
But I was just pleased for him to win because he's... Anyway.
Hang on. Did you ride him slightly differently yesterday?
Yeah, well, he needs to be just weighted with in the mid-pack because he gets confidence by passing horses. And that's just the way to ride him, really. It helps that his stable companion almost blocked him in turning for home, which wasn't the plan, but it did help him and just delayed his challenge a bit longer. But I thought he showed a good attitude, and he stuck his neck out, and he seemed to finish his race rather than be a weak finisher that he's shown on more than one occasion this season. But he's paid his way, so you know.
Yeah, that's it. Ride him like that again and follow up.
So,
Wolverhampton on Gold Cup Day.
There you go. There you go, folks.
Plot.
I can't
Always keeping on the aways on Gold Cup Day.
I can't believe I'm going to Wolverhampton on Gold Cup Day, but it looks like that's the plan.
Okie dokie. Right, go on there. Fire us away.
Sorry. Well, we've already heard the reasons why, and I do take on board why Mucho Ma could well win the 410 race, the staying chase. But for my 1 point, I've come up with a horse that's from a yard that have been out of sorts for many years, but they do seem to have really, since the turn of the year, the horses have been running really well. Victor Dartnell's yard in Somerset, Run to Milan. He's not been over raced. He's an old boy. He's an 11-year-old, and he ran in the Veterans Chase final over this course and distance last time in January, and he wasn't disgraced. He finished third, and the handicap has given him £1 back. So he runs off 127. It's only 12 months ago that they were running him at the Cheltenham Festival off a mark nearly a stone higher than what he runs off tomorrow. I'm not saying he's thrown in, but I do think the fact that he stays well, he loves testing ground, and he goes around the course. Whereas I do think there's question marks against one or two of them. Move the Chains probably is better on a more undulating track like Lingfield. Flowing Cadenza has gone up £10 for his win. Upton Road has also yet to prove that he is up to running in 0 to 35 grade. And I think there's question marks against most of them. So although he probably doesn't hide a great deal from the handicapper, I think you'll get a good run for your money. And he's my 3-pointer, Run to Milan in the 410 at Sandown.
So 1 point on Run to Milan. At what price are you expecting, Nev?
25.
13-2 for you, Neville, with Port Vale.
Is Port Vale the same one that you used to call?
Yeah.
I'm dropping the insults out. We're very offensive, this channel, and it was International
Women's Day this week. So.
It was International Women's Day this week, so I don't want to have any negative references around.
What does that mean, International Women's Day?
It means they get a day off from ironing.
Why?
What?
That's what it means, Nev. It means
right.
It means you don't get your shirt ironed. That's what it means. Right. Anyway, yeah.
Can you believe they're running an impressive lady in a race like this on just a second run over fences? Sorry, the 410.
The 410.
I'm surprised. I'd have thought that they could look for maybe a mare's. Anyway, that was just getting down sidetracked.
Okay, right. So that's the three Stooges. Now it's down to me to finish the round. We go to Sandown for the 150, probably one of the most competitive races of the day, barring the Imperial Cup. And this is the National Novices Handicap final. So obviously it's going to be very competitive. The one in question that I'm going to plump for my Gus the Guess is the Dan Skelton trained Etalon. This horse, I think, has shown an abundance of promise so far. All three starts, really. He chased home the Supreme Novice entry, strong leader at Aintree. and then he just had a scoot round and bolted up at Wetherby last time. I think that's clever placing from Skelton, because he knew that he couldn't get even if he won the Wetherby race easy, he wasn't going to get a big rating. The handicapper left him alone for that, 119, which I think is very, very generous. And I think the Skelton people will be rubbing their hands. The first time tongue tie goes on, which is often a telltale sign with this yard, that they mean business, because Dan Skelton makes fortunes, Quinton fortunes, when they put the tongue strap on for the first time, which suggests that obviously they also had a wind up before, that, you know, this just basically gives them extra help. So Etalon, I thought, was value at around the 11-1 mark. That's with the Entain firm, disgusting firm, Coral and Ladbrokes. Good luck getting on there. But I thought that could run well at a rather generous price of 11s. That finishes the round. Okay, I'll swing it back round. Jonas Lang, hit us with the 2-pointer.
240 Wolves. It's fairly straightforward, this. Angel Blur, in my best Clouseau accent.
Yes.
Shown himself more than good enough for this grade. Kept better company than this, really. What I like is, as well, is the yards kept going all winter, and the horses seem reasonably forward. There's plenty of these can't win on the figures. It's not as competitive as the numbers might suggest. For me, this wins unless he goes Kane. He went Kane a couple of times last year, but I have a theory about this. If he's running on ground faster than Argyle, I think he starts climbing a bit and he gets himself on top of the bit, and they can't set him when he does that. But I think this kind of surface will suit him, and I think he'll drop it early, and that should be the end of all problems, really.
Okay, so 2 points on the nose for John for Angel Blur. Obviously, class act, running behind the likes of Baid, and drops into probably a class that he's probably above Angel Blur. Certainly, you know, when he, I mean,
he's a very sporting price.
He's a sporting price. He's probably whether he's straight. As like Nevin, Norms won't have a lot to add on the all-weather races for the TV bit. I thought I'd finish the preview off here with just a mention for Dabab. This horse will be absolutely pinging in terms of fitness, because he's had a couple of goes this winter already. Obviously needs time between races. That's how he's always been difficult to train. Again, another angle here for stats backers and things like that is the HUD the first time. Gosden in a stupidly good record in first time odds, and I say stupid. You make money every year just about doing it, and it's about 29% strike rate, which is just immense. So, and obviously Dabab is a very keen sort, so I'd expect Dabab to run possibly a career best. So if you fancied an alternative to John's clear form choice, Dabab might be one to have a look at.
That was got his money back off Matt Hancock, yes.
It's a bad 10k that to chuck at Hancock, wasn't it? A terrible 10k.
Well, 10k if you had the wife's money in and out.
Did the wife chuck 10 in as well?
20, I think.
Bloody hell. The wife's stashing it. He's got more money than him. Anyway.
She's maybe going to run away with Matt Hancock.
Yeah. Right. So digressing, so Angel Blur for John, 2 points win at 3-1. So good luck with that, John. Move on back to Neville. Swing it back to Neville for his 2-pointer.
Well, I love this race at Sandown, this National Novices Handicap final, because it's full of potential chasers of the future. And I remember John Joe winning it with the horse that went on to win at Aintree, the same race at Aintree 2 or 3 years running. And it's always been a real good race for horses for the future.
Yes.
And it's a hard race to get an angle on, but I thought that Paul Nicholls, who won it last year, has targeted it with well, he's got 3 in it, so he's obviously keen on winning the 80 grand prize money. Hugo's new horse is not holding back anything. He's been on the go most of the season, but he doesn't travel, and he just keeps finding when he comes off the bridle. And I know 130 is not an easy mark to win off when there are less exposed horses in the race, like the Skelton horse that you've already touched upon, and Inniston of Gary Moore's looks to be improving. Twin Jets, it's full of improving horses, but Hugo's horse, I don't believe we've got to the bottom of him yet. His form has worked out really well, surprisingly well. I thought the race that he won at Market Race, and I thought he made hard work of winning that. But you look through and you see, well, the horse that finished third was Pearly Island, and he's gone on and absolutely, for want of a better word, pissed in at Fontwell off 112. And, you know, he really is a tough horse. All right, he might find something that's possibly got a pound or two in hand of the assessor, but you get a great run for your money. And if he comes off the bridle, I won't worry about that because he'll keep finding. And I do like Angus Shalida, who's claiming £5 off his back as well. So he's running it effectively off 125. It's no cakewalk for him, but he's got, I think he's got a real good chance. Hugo's new horse, 150 Sandown.
Yeah, I was sort of looking at him as well, basically because he's clearly he's quite smart. He's quite lazy. He just does enough, and that sort of like disguises possibly his sort of true superiority, if you like. That's his ways. So I don't mind that selection at all, Nev. I think that's possibly a good choice. 12-1 with Paddy's and Betfair. Are you going on the nose as always?
No, I'll go each way this one. I think
each way, yeah. Five pegs for the wanker bet for Nev at 12s with Paddy Power Betfair, 5 places. Hugo's new horse. Good stuff. Okay, before we come back to Adam Norman, I'll just chip in with a 2-pointer, which is a bit boring, really. The 115 race is where I go, and I just think this is what you used to call sort of the phrase a racing certainty, where I think this horse just has to turn up to win tomorrow. Spirit Danu, currently 15-8 with Port Vale, and I think that's a price that you won't see tomorrow. This will go off probably odds on, I would say around 4-5, 10-11, and I think the horse has only got to repeat what he's been doing recently. His horse work in progress, very green early doors, his first start, and it's just learning its trade. And this mark is very, very low. I'm surprised it only got 115. So I'll be very surprised if Spirit Danu is beaten tomorrow in the 115. Didn't make it my best bet, but yeah, the 2 points win, 15-8 with the Port Vale lot. Okay, Norms, finish us off.
Yeah, going back to the EBF final, the 150, there was never a chance for Claxon with my pick in this. Bear with me when I build a case for the outside of the absolute rag, which is Grey Dalco. Bear with me just 1 second. The point run behind Corbett's Cross was quite interesting. I thought the Corbett's Cross is favourite for the Spud race. I'm led to believe. Obviously, you can't read too much into that, but he was beaten 4 lengths. It was just over a year ago. It was interesting when he ran first time out at Lingfield in November, ran a fairly decent level. There's not much form out of that because the two that he was beaten by have only run once between them. And the one that he was 20 lengths behind came out and won next time. So there's not too much form to go on. He looks like a 3 mile staying chaser, jumps really well, a natural. He was behind Inniston in a race here last time. You can definitely build a case for Inniston, as Nev said, and 1 or 2 others. Etalon. I don't like sexy horses in this. It's a really rugged, horrible little race, and it's obviously terrible ground conditions potentially. They're waterlogged in places, aren't they? Bit of frost in there. I want something that's just going to gallop all day. And I like the look of this Grey Dalco. I hope they hang it out the back and just try and pick up some pieces. And he's a bit of a fun bet. But Richard Rowe actually trained a winner in the week at Wincanton, so it's not all negative. He's going to be off an absolute basement mark, and I think whatever he does here, he's one to keep an eye on for next season when they go novice chasing. So Grey Dalco was interesting to me. 1 point each way, Lee.
Yeah, that's 66-1. Yeah, that's 5 places. I'm just trying to see who that's with. It's Bet365 or Paddy's or Betfair or even Billy Mountains.
Interesting. Tightly that wins, isn't it?
I'm going to say this is we love big price selections on this show, and Norms actually makes a good case here because on the point form, it was taken to Corbett's Cross, but it slammed one called Joy of Life. That has actually run under rules over fences and went very close off a mark of 107, and this beat that 18 lengths. So the ability's there. The only one thing you can say there is the trainer Richard Rowe. I mean, Richard Rowe. Jesus Christ,
Rosie.
I mean, yeah, there was a story once about him.
Yeah.
They gave him some seeds to grow some ivy, and it grew sideways. He's basically, this man is just not the one to place much faith in terms of training. But nevertheless, 66. I know, but he's a six. I mean, Richard Rowe. They either seem to win sort of like round Plumpton, Fontwell, etc. These locals, they tend to run well, but the man just never seemed to get back to back. He never seems to get consistency with his horse.
I think these connections had a horse called Mr. Merchant that last year I think won a couple and threatened to be a sort of a 130 type of horse. So it is what it is. It
is. I like the case though. I do like the case. I certainly like Nev says. It is a very good race. It's one you'll find lots of prospects in this.
I mean, obviously, I just don't like these. There's a lot of sexy horses that are going to travel in this horrible ground, and they're going to be straight out like washing. Yeah. And there could only be half a dozen still galloping at the end.
Yeah,
and I think Grey Dalco will be one of them. So
very good points made. I feel by Neville and Norman there. Okay. We'll move on to the best bets. Will we get a klaxon here, folks? We don't know. Who shall I start with? Go on, I'll kick us off. Now, I said I was tipping on the jumps all winter to remain fair, but because originally Sandown looked dodgy, obviously, I started study on the all weather because obviously I didn't want the show to go without any bets in case the jumps was off. So please forgive me in terms of why I've tipped on the flat. But we've got a 12.55 Wolverhampton. It's a split stake wanker bet. Everyone loves a split stake wanker bet. We all get excited at these because it means that we've two chances of winning and less chance of looking stupid. And so 12.55 there, it's a 5 furlong sprint handicap, kicks the day off nice and early. And two-pronged attack here. My first one is Just a Spark, James Millman. And literally, this horse I like physically. She's a really nice sort physically. They've brought her on nice and steadily. She was very impressive last time, beat nothing. But the mark is interesting. 63, I think, is very exploitable. I'd have her about £7 higher than that at this stage. And I think because of her size, she's got quite a bit of scope for improvement. 4-1 generally available. I think's a nice price. O'Sheen in the saddle, always a plus. And 1.5.
Still winner than Richard Rowe.
Yeah, 1.5 points on Just a Spark, and splitting that. Not last but not least, John, you're a fan of this man because you've tipped one of his up. The Sean Woods trained Lady Najin. This beat Just a Spark at Southall 2 starts ago. Obviously, that was Just a Spark's second start, so she's gonna keep learning, and I think she'll be a lot closer to Lady Najin, if not beating that horse, because Lady Najin will go from the front end. The interesting thing with this is dropping in trip to 5 because she's keen. She's been keen over 6. She's been getting to the front. She's got lots of early boot, inside draw. What's not to like round this cunto? So 13 to 2. We got a C word out there. It's terrible. It's a family show. Family show.
Wolverhampton.
Seahole.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So 13 to 2 Lady Najin for the other 1.5 points. So it's 1.5 Just a Spark at 4s, 1.5 Lady Najin, 13 to 2. I think you're in pole position with those two. Those are the two to concentrate on, both fillies, and I think both will go very, very close in that race tomorrow. So that's my max bet. Right. Back to Norman.
Okay. I'm still catching my breath from tipping a 66 to 1 shot, Lee.
I know. It's good.
There's a couple of... I fancy a couple of air tomorrow. I'm going to go with a 320 horse called Ginger Mail. Nick Alexander trains. there's not a great deal to say about this. Its chance looks very obvious to me. It won course and distance earlier in the season off just £1 lower, marked a bit of time mid-term over further trips, which I don't think he's been staying. Was back to form last time and just bumped into one called Dance with the Wind, who subsequently was a short price in a really decent race back there at Kelso, but I don't think Dance in the Wind stayed, so I'm not too concerned that he didn't follow up that form. I thought that Kelso form that Ginger Mail was second, that the pair came clear of There Is No Doubt, who had won there previously very easily. If that's all too confusing, I apologise. But Ginger Mail, I think, is a good thing here. His form, his numbers are much better than Trapain Law, who is favourite here. Trapain Law, plenty of form on heavy ground, was well beaten by Ginger Mail in that race early this season and is worse off. Yes, Trapain Law has done a lot more since they reverted to front-running tactics. But I think he'll just set the race up perfectly tomorrow for Ginger Mail. The only slight negative is that I think Ginger Mail wants a bit softer, but there's plenty of juice in the ground once the frost comes out, and I think Ginger Mail should go off about 9-4, 5-2, and I think it's a good bet.
7-2, yeah, generally available. Interesting thing for, again, stats backers here. Nick Alexander obviously loves a winner at Ayr. Amazing strike rate here. 48% strike rate if they go off Fav. Makes money at SP, Betfair SP. So when the Alexander team line one up and it goes off Fav, 48%. That's just stupid. 20 from 42 over the years at Ayr. So, yeah, Norman's picked a fancied one. You want it to go off Fav because if it goes off Fav, the stats are with you as well. So, yeah, after Norman's 66 to 1 shot gets up on the line. It's Ginger Mail. Hopefully to follow that up. So thanks for that, Adam. Coming on to you, Neville, before finishing off with Jonas to complete the round. Neville Ender, your 3-pointer.
My 3-pointer is in the Imperial Cup. I've gone for 3 horses today, or for tomorrow, all in tough handicaps, but there are no easy races tomorrow. I think Sandown looks tricky, but you'll get rewarded if any of them do cop. The Imperial Cup is possibly not a stronger renewal as we've seen, with the top weight being rated 143. I do think the top weight's got a good chance, actually, Metier. I think he loved the ground, but maybe in this heavy terrain, it's going to be, each pound's going to count for double. Looking further down the weights, Fergal O'Brien's punctuation was in unbelievable form, but he did start off for Fergal O'Brien off a good mark. He was transferred from Charlie Longsdon, and he started his life off with Fergal O'Brien winning off 95. True, he does run off 129 tomorrow, and he's also just had a wind operation. I've just been looking. He had a wind operation in February 25th, 21. So this is his second wind op, but he hasn't been performing badly. If he has had a wind problem, because he's won several races, and I don't think there was a great deal to be negative about for his last run at Cheltenham at the end of January, when he ran off a similar mark to Tomorrow's. He got beat just under 5 lengths by Hacker Place in a good handicap. This race, as I said, it's not the strongest of Imperial Cups, and he was a good flat horse. It was not nudging listed class, but he was a very good handicapper on the flat for Andrew Balding, and it's a bonny little horse as well. If you see him, he's got a big white face and he's a black horse. I think that if the wind up can just eke out a pound or two, because he loves soft ground and he does stay 2.5. He's proved he stays 2.5. He won at Utoxica over that trip. I think he's got a lot going for him. And I did look on Betfair, and I do understand there are other exchanges that you can look on, but I did have a look through Betfair prior to the show, and I couldn't believe it was 25s. How on earth could he be 25? He always starts favourite every time he runs. So he's going to be my nap for the weekend, punctuation, but like everybody else, I'm going to have to wank it. I'm going to have to.
Yeah, it sounds so much better when you say it. 60 to 1 is
No.
Yes.
No.
It's
You're just looking at the shortest price.
No, that's the biggest price at the moment in the street.
Sure.
We will give you, if you want. Do you want the 6 places, William Hill Coral?
Will I get on?
William Hill Paddy Power. Do you want it, Nev? You want it, no? You want it. 16 to 1.
It's 28 on Betfair as we speak now.
It's win only.
Win only though, Nev. You don't get 6 pegs on Betfair for 20.
All right, go on then. I'll have 6 pegs. No, I'll have 4. What's 4?
No, you can't get 4. They won't give you 4. They'll give you 5.
I don't want 5.
You can have 16 to 1 for 5 pegs. If you want.
What can I have for the first 3?
First 3, 10s.
I think I'll go 6 then.
So 16 to 1, 6 places for Nev. You know if he's moaning about price, he likes one because he always goes on about it a lot.
I backed him already.
Yeah. Look at that confidence there from Nev. The big Imperial Cup with a 16 to 1 punctuation for the informed Fergal O'Brien, who had an easy winner at Exeter today with the Armchair Farmer. Very, very well named. Absolutely pissed up from the front. So 16 to 1 for Nev, punctuation. Some good bets on the show. 16 to 1 from me. 61 from Nev, 11 to 1 from me, 66 to 1 from Norman. We've had a 12 to 1 from Jonas. We don't just tip 5s. Okay, we'll come on to John to finish the round.
When Nev says wanking, it sounds so much better than anybody else, doesn't it? You know,
Yeah.
Anybody else, it's like Katie Price drooling from the mouth and stuff.
It is. Nev.
And when it's Nev,
Yeah.
it's Julie Andrews in latex gloves.
You can actually tell Nev's had a lifetime in broadcasting, but the thing is as well, like the Jack and Ory's missed out, John, didn't they, in the 90s and that? Imagine like Nev on Jack and Ory.
I watch it every week.
You know, you'd be transfixed, wouldn't you? You would.
Fantastic, wasn't it?
Yeah, there you go. Right, John, finish us off.
Right, this is a bit of a shame, to be honest.
Okay.
Because I was enjoying looking at the Wolves card. But sadly, I've had to get involved in the Imperial Cup.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I mean, I've had to get involved in the Imperial.
Oh, so you're confident?
I think this will not just win, but I think it'll win impressively.
Wow.
The horse in question is Monreal, and this was fencing for the Betfair hurdle. Didn't have a chance after the jump 1 because he was dropped out. You'll remember the Lady Maydell.
Yeah, it's a front end gasol.
Yeah. He needed a good jump at the third last when he was closing them down in the quickest part of the race, I thought. But he clouted it. But he showed more than enough to indicate he's well handicapped. Comes here fairly fresh. He's only had the 2 runs this season. I hope they ride him slightly handier, but, you know, I can live with it. I think Sandown will be well suitable to make the ground up if they don't. And he's sadly a very, very confident selection, 3 points win.
It's an interesting choice for sure because you do make some good points. The Newbury run was very eye-catching. The Ascot run the time before, John, you'd be hoping for something similar, like you said, going more handier. He won well at Ascot the time before, very impressive actually at Ascot the time before, hence why he was one of the leading fancies for the Betfair. And again, he comes at 8 to 1, John, generally available. So you're hammering that 3 points win 8 to 1. You currently lead the Naps table, so this could see you seal the deal. Monville,
I'll be putting a 6 note in next week if I'm doing it this way.
A very, very confident John Lang. I like that. I like the selections, chaps. I think there's some imaginative players there from you 3, so thank you for that. We'll come on to the television races. John, before we bring the jumps chaps in, probably we'll have just a quick look at a couple of races at Wolves. We've already looked at the race that you have had a play in terms of Angel Blur, so we don't need to look at the Wolfruna. We'll look at the other 2 television races at Wolves. Yeah. 1:30 race, the 6 furlong. I found this incredibly tough. Silky Wilkie Fav at 7 to 2. Any views?
You and me both found it very tough, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't like the sprint track around there.
No.
I think you're very much beholden to luck. It's a nice race, but for me, you know, I mean, I wouldn't really want to try and give anybody a stayer because I don't feel as though I have an edge.
Same. I've nothing to add in that race. I won't be playing it. That will be a pay race. Maybe some decent M&S chicken liver pate, perhaps. Yeah, so something like that. The 205 race is the Lincoln Trial, where nothing ever wins the Lincoln that runs in this. So I don't know why they call it that.
Qualify is like the worst trial ever.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah,
well, the Blue Ribbon Trial at Epsom's pretty shit as well, isn't it?
I'd actually put it about akin to that, John. I'd say that's where we're at in terms of significance for the Lincoln. Anyway, John, for me, I was with the Balding horse, Notre Belle Bete. You put it up in the race last year.
Well, at risk of being a right boring bastard, I took this last time out.
It was unlucky.
You were on holiday and I had to put some selections up.
And it was unlucky, wasn't it? Yeah.
He probably should have won. So I'd be sticking with that one, I think.
Yeah.
Unforgotten could be anything, but, a 5-year-old, he's only got it at 94, hasn't he?
Yeah, I'd just be with Notre Belle Bete. You're guaranteed, I think, to run to sort of the mark or thereabouts. And I think a lot of these maybe won't. And that's where we're at, I think. So that's me and John agreeing on Notre Belle Bete. So we'll come to the jumps races. Obviously, we've covered off the 150, I suppose. John, did you have any view in the 150 race, the novices?
Absolutely not.
No, it's definitely one. National Enthusiasts, this is probably one of the major races of the season, like for future prospects. Like Neville pointed out, it is definitely one to have a look at.
Hence me not having a view.
Yeah. yeah. The 225, obviously, Neville and John going head to head in the Imperial Cup. Both actually make very good cases for both their selections. Adam Norman.
I thought it was really tricky. I thought it's interesting that Monviel ran in this last year as a novice. His first handicap was 8th. So they obviously thought plenty of it last year, and perhaps this has been some sort of target. I know obviously it went running the Betfair, but clearly they rate it quite highly. I don't know much about the horse, but it's interesting that Hobbs has actually been training a couple of winners recently. Trainers completely gone at the game.
Finished.
Well, he's lost a few horses, hasn't he? So, I mean... It
seems to be very much on the downgrade, doesn't he? I do like the jockey, Ben Jones, an unsung character.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of really... Tom O'Brien, I'm not down with, to be honest.
No, I think that's probably a slight jockey upgrade. Ben Jones very much under the radar still, despite that Hennessy win a couple of years ago.
No, I must admit I'm tempted to row in with John, and obviously I might cover Nevs because I can't have Neville crowing. The next time he's on saying I put you all on a 25-1 winner.
Bloody klaxon noise.
Yeah. He'd bring the horse klaxon sound out. Yeah, he would. What do you say, John? The
asthmatic horse.
Asthmatic horse. Yeah.
He's running in a point-to-point in a couple of weeks. The asthmatic horse.
Really?
Yeah, he's ready to go. In fact, he is on the new Sky Bet video. We took 2 horses for the new Sky Bet, not video, commercial. That's going to be on at the races, played for the next about 20 times every hour. And him and another one of mine are on the with Jonah Mason and Daryl Jacob, because they're sponsored by Sky Bet. And
does it make that noise on the advert then, Nev?
No, it doesn't make the noise. He didn't say anything actually.
Heavy breathing.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. No heavy breathing either. Just a
anyway,
place,
I can't top the selections and choices there in the Imperial Cup. So I'm gonna agree with John and Nev there. Okay, go on to the 3 o'clock, the bumper. Did you chaps get a chance to sort of go through these? Like, Norm, physically, any of these, have you seen them?
The only one I saw and actually backed last time, and she was a bit disappointing, Jeanne Bell of Lucy Wadhams, who are running much better than they were earlier in the winter, was quite nicely backed to win at Wetherby. As I say, went very freely actually. and had run a race by the time that the two came past her. Wasn't a bad mare's race actually. In the fourth, Hierarchy, another Nick Alexander horse, came out and won at Ayr next time. So a little bit of strength to that form. I've no idea how that's going to fit in with the rest. Probably nowhere near good enough, to be honest, Lee. But she's actually quite a nice filly with plenty of size and scope. I didn't mind her at all. I don't know enough about the others. It doesn't look that strong a race. It's usually a really good race, but doesn't look that strong. So
no Hawkwing on the dam side, which could suggest that she'll enjoy the soup.
Possibly. Yeah. I like the Champs-Élysées as well. Interesting. Yeah.
Nev, did you see anything in this?
It's a race that appeals about as much as that card at Wolverhampton does.
They're not jumping an obstacle. Nev's not interested, except unless he's training them, because he definitely has more flat winners than hurdle winners recently. Anyway, so there we go. So nothing for Nev. Absolutely zero clue here. John, have you any clue?
Oh, ridiculous.
Yeah. Again, the pay is on overdrive tomorrow for me and John. The crackers will be going and everything. It's how it is.
Dog's in for that one.
Yeah, dog's in for that one as well. To help out, 3:35 Sandown. 3:35 that we're discussing. 3:35 Sandown. The which, John, the boots the zips will be loose on these boots if Easy as that bolts up and she's interviewed after with Charlie Dutch in the saddle. 13:08 Fab.
She might buy the chest waders.
Yeah. You're looking at we're on Venetia Attire Watch tomorrow. Anyway, to see if she's making plenty of effort, towards the spring. As she often remarked last season that she remains single and available for any budding punters out there. Imagine the info, John. You might get a bacon sandwich in the morning and the info.
It's beyond imagination, isn't it?
That's it. That's what we like, right? So
things I could do to her over a bacon sandwich.
And some people having nightmares at those thoughts. Anyway, on to.
I'm not kidding you. I'd wear her like your feedback.
That horse was my horse of the season, Lee. Easy as that. I saw him at Haydock.
Yeah.
As I say, once or twice a season, something just literally jumps out at you in the paddock, and this was one of them. That was a 0 to 130, or at least it was up against those types. And I thought it was a 140 type that day, and so it proved. So 142 now. He's obviously got to prove it in deeper waters. So only a week. Is it a week or 2 weeks since he last ran at Newcastle?
2 weeks. That's nearly. It's not as bad, but it's nearly as bad as Richmond's after time in 90 to 1 winner the other week.
We had somebody switched off after that.
We did. We actually had somebody said Richmond's after time the 90s winner. That's me done.
I think I actually texted you from the paddock that day and said this is miles better than the rest, but you may have forgotten that.
No, I'm going to champion Norman here. You did. It was the Haydock run. Yeah. And you said this looked absolutely head and shoulders above these, like literally in a different level.
Yeah. So that was like, I think it was 126 or 127. This is a different kind of race, but it is a lovely horse for next season. Still got quite a bit of strengthening to do. I'm sorry to bore everybody, but it could be a sort of a graded horse.
Some are on his back, etc.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cliche. But no, Norman did tell me at Haydock. Yeah, he did. So yeah, we enjoyed that day. Anyway, Neville, anything in this?
It's a really tricky handicap. The one that I thought would not win, and I'm probably going to look stupid if it does win. I could not fancy Paul Nicholls' horse, Keldastan. I just cannot fancy him at all off his present mark. No risk of flow. He's a Weatherby specialist, isn't he? So, I couldn't really be offering him up. The one I thought was Gary Moore's at the bottom, Hudson de Bruges. He ran in a 3-horse race at Kempton earlier in the season
Yeah, no. It's
not many runners though for a 50 grand race.
No, it's poor in that respect, but it is at least like there's a few people that have got opinions, like you said, Norris to Fly. I agree with about Weatherby, just seems to run his races there and nowhere else. Like you said, Keldestan, he's bridely anyway, so like
only a novice as well, isn't he?
Yeah, Baron de Middleton, I'm not sure, not raiding down south when he's beating crap up north.
Probably. The top one's interesting, Skelton's. I mean, it's a curious sort of campaign it's had. Beat Hudson de Grugy 20 lengths in November, so off levels. Obviously it's different today, but
what I noticed was though, Norms, when after it unseated at Kempton, I think I don't know, it didn't jump well last time at all.
Yeah,
it didn't attack the fences. It didn't sort of make a good shape or a good cut at them. So I just wonder if that sort of mishap or whatever, maybe just knocked it off a bit. I don't know. I think
it's a proper soft ground horse, Oli. I think that lively ground probably wasn't to his liking. But you're making excuses for horses. I don't like doing that. So he's one for further down the line. I wouldn't be backing him tomorrow.
No. It's I reckon Norman. Norman doesn't like short prices too much, but
no.
He's confident that the Venetia horse is a good horse.
Well, it'd be nice to see him, win off this sort of mark, which I thought he was capable of. So, but it'd be a good race to watch. That
good stuff. John, can you add anything?
It's a sloppy Sandown Saturday, so you get down and dirty in the mud with Venetia.
Rolling about in the mud, can't beat it. Right. Hope you enjoyed our little preview tonight, because there were some tremendous selections at outstanding value prices, and we'll dine off a few of these if we can get a few past the post. Hopefully we can. We're back, don't forget, on Sunday with the Cheltenham special, a little bit different to the run-of-the-mill shit that you get to listen and watch. This isn't totally shit. And we've got an all-star cast of me, John, Lord Malvo, Icy's joining the show, obviously a very popular social media figure. And we've got Catherine Fry with Alfie May's thong in teeth out of the cellar, joining us on Sunday also. So what an all-star cast that is to get you through Cheltenham. And also there'll be lots of laughs and stories, not like these boring Cheltenham podcasts, that send you to sleep. I nearly fell asleep at one the other week. And you won't be doing that on Sunday. So tune in around 7:30 Sunday night to listen to our Cheltenham input. Right, that's all from me. John, Neville, Adam, good evening.
Good night.